What's up guys, Daily here, and today we're going to be continuing on our train of Jedi Survivor hype. The game is coming out in just a couple days now, and we are expecting big things. But that hasn't kept people from complaining about the game already. Yep, that's right, we already have complaints about Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and the first reviews haven't even come up yet. So we're going to be going over some of these complaints, and honestly, guys, I don't care about them. I'm going to be playing the game. I haven't been this hyped about a game for a while. Hogwarts Legacy is the last game that I got really engrossed in, and I wasn't even that hyped about it. It just turned out to be a great game. I think the last game I was really hyped about was the last Lego Star Wars game, which lived up to it big time. And I'm just really hoping this game rocks, and I think it will. But let's go over what some silly people are saying. Not that all of this isn't warrantless, but I think people get caught up in the hate train too much. But before we get into this video, there's a little giveaway where you could win a copy of the game as well as your very own Cal lightsaber. Check it out. Real quick guys, before we get into the rest of the video, you have a chance to win in the next 4 days Jedi Survivor and your very own Disney lightsaber replica. If you go to Instant Gaming, click participate now, and then you go ahead and click participate right here, and boom, you are entered in to win the giveaway. Instant Gaming has a ton of Star Wars games as well that you can purchase. You can also pre-purchase Jedi Survivor if you like at discounted prices. I highly recommend utilizing Instant Gaming. It's what I buy all my games from. Either way guys, thanks for watching this ad read, and let's get back to the video. Alrighty then guys, so the first complaint that I have seen quite a bit online is actually the look of Cal. Cal is of course going to be more customizable than ever now, but so many people are complaining that he looks like a neckbeard or like one of those dudes on Facebook who wears Oakleys and just comments weird things and complains about the state of the world. I think this is really silly because you can literally customize how he looks. It's just so happened to be that some of the gameplay has featured him rocking like a neckbeard and a mullet and things like that. So I can understand the complaint, he looks a little bit funny, but you choose how he looks during the game, so chill. The other complaint is a returning complaint from Fallen Order that I've seen on, of course, Twitter, where people are complaining that the protagonist is, again, a white dude. Not only that, a pasty, red-headed white dude, and people wanted more diversity in the protagonist arena. I'm not really one who likes forced diversity or anything like that. He could have been female, he could have been any nationality, whatever. It really wouldn't have mattered to me, and I think Cal is great the way he is, and I think people complaining about the sequel, not, I guess they would say, rectifying the, straight white male thing, I think it's just a little bit silly. There are tons of games out there with female protagonists, protagonists of other races, etc., etc. And Star Wars is becoming more inclusive than ever, and I think that it's just complaining to complain at this point, but maybe you guys have different thoughts. I just don't see it as that big of a deal anymore. Okay, so another interesting complaint that I have heard about the game, and this has come from people who actually got invited to playtest the game over in Los Angeles. There's been a number of those people who have sort of come forward with their opinion videos on what they managed to experience and things like that. One of those people is Eckhart's Ladder, as well as like Twisted Jedi, I think, got invited, and some other people, so, some famous Star Wars YouTubers and things like that. And one major complaint that I've heard from a bunch of them is that the combat system isn't exactly what they were expecting. They were expecting a bit of a revamp of the combat system, completely overhauling it and coming up with something new and more exciting. But instead, it was more of a polished version of what came before. Reports have come out that it almost was a revamp with adding just a ton more customization to your character's combat style, as well as perks and things like that. And on one hand, a lot of people are making it sound really cool, like, hey, you're going to be getting a ton of new features, and it's going to completely be customizable to your playstyle, which sounds like a revamp because the last playstyle was pretty linear. You know, you ended up getting everything everyone else got, but this is like you get to customize completely. So some people are saying it is pretty revolutionary, and others are saying what I said before, where it's like, oh, well, you're not really getting all that much in terms of a revamp in the combat, and rather it's going to be basically the same thing as before. Now, it's hard to tell which to believe on which side from these playtesters, as, you know, they're not really allowed to review the game fully yet. I believe that embargo is April 26th, so maybe we'll get a little bit better of an idea of that by then, but I have heard from both sides of them. Some of them are very happy with how the combat has progressed, and others are like, well, they really should have given us a little bit more, because right now it's feeling a little lackluster. So it's interesting to see both sides' perspectives there, and I'm inclined to lean towards, you know, the combat is improved, but not necessarily like completely different, and it's gonna end up being what you choose to think of that as. You know, it's gonna be like, oh, did you really like the original combat, and then this is probably going to be okay for you, or did you really dislike the original combat, and them polishing that system is going to bum you out. So, you know, it's a little bit of a complaint from both sides, but not a very harsh one. Now, these next two complaints are sort of Jedi Survivor adjacent. The first being that Cal hasn't been featured in pretty much any other Star Wars content, and it's been a few years since Jedi Fallen Order was released. Now, the idea behind this complaint is basically that they want more world building around Cal, and it's Twitter again, by the way. They think that, you know, this won't be in-depth of a character enough without outside help. They're arguing that, like, the only reason why Anakin is so beloved is because we got so many side stories from Anakin, like in the Clone Wars, as well as in comics, in books, etc., etc., things that we didn't get in just, like, episode 1, 2, and 3. And it sort of culminated into episode 3 being even better because of those side stories. And they're saying that because Cal hasn't really been featured in any other Star Wars content, this game might not be as good? I mean, I think that's a pretty goofy argument, to be honest, and it's Twitter being Twitter again, because Starkiller in The Force Awakens really only had The Force Awakens between his two games. You know, he was featured in some comics, I think, later, but yeah, it was mainly The Force Awakens, and he is a phenomenal character. And there's plenty of examples of characters being from video games and not being in outside media at all and still being beloved characters. So, I don't know. This one is stupid. I'm writing this off as dumb. Then there's the second point here that is, I think, less stupid, and that's that there have already been spoilers leaked online, and people are already having the game ruined for them from these spoilers. These spoilers must have come from somewhere inside the game development studio, which kind of sucks. I mean, I don't know why you'd go ahead and spoil this unless it's like a disgruntled employee or something along those lines. IGN speculated when they posted about this that it might have been like a hack or something. I don't know where it came from, but I think that is so dumb, and I'm really bummed because as someone who has suffered from spoilers my whole life, The Force Awakens, Han Solo dying, spoiled for me right before I went to the theater by some jackass in the lobby. And also Endgame, spoiled for me by someone who wrote it in a bathroom stall in the history department of the college in which I attended. Yes, I read on that board, and I don't think it's spoilers anymore because it's years old now, Iron Man dies. Yep. I read that while peeing and got it spoiled the day before I could go watch it. So I think spoilers are super lame, and I don't think this is any reason to actually hate the game itself, but I am pretty mad that people are getting it spoiled for them, and I hate the person that did that to those people. Now, the last two complaints I've heard about, and I've basically watched every gameplay impressions video from people who were actually at the sessions and things like that, and these two come from Eckhart's Ladder, and you know, go watch his video, of course, because, you know, he paints a way bigger picture of the whole experience and things like that. I'm just covering other people's complaints today, and he said that these weren't even super big complaints for him. They were just things he didn't really like that much, and that was that there was only Souls-style combat, and he's implying Dark Souls-style combat. If you've ever played the Dark Souls games or, you know, Elden Ring, stuff like that, you'd know exactly what he's talking about, sort of the jumping, dodging, and then slashing when you can sort of a thing. And there's no speed or acrobatic-based combat, which he was sort of expecting from a more Jedi-style game. And I can understand that complaint. You know, it would be really cool to do a lot of, like, speed combat and things like that. There was a lot of that in, like, Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, where you'd have to go through these hallways filled to the brim with enemies, and you could duke your way out of it, but you'd probably run out of ammunition, and your lightsaber wouldn't be enough to kill them. So instead, you kind of have to speed your way through, slicing and dicing as you go. And it seems like that is missing in Jedi Survivor, and he's a bit bummed by that. On top of that, he complained that the minimap was way too OP and that it revealed way too much of the secret areas, the puzzles, etc., etc. Personally, as someone who hates puzzles, and Jedi Fallen Order had so many puzzles, I like when puzzles are revealed to me easily, but that's just a me thing. I can understand that. He also said, like, completionists will love this because it makes it very easy to track your progress, but he said that personally for him, it was just a little too much being given away. Totally respectable opinions by Eckhart's Ladder. Please check out his video as well. Now, I think the only real complaint from me myself, because I think most of this is, you know, not really going to affect my opinion on the game, and I'll have to get my hands on it to see if I actually like it, but just judging by everything I've seen, I'm gonna love it. But the one thing that I am kind of disappointed by is the amount of gigabyte storage I need. I just started the preload for Jedi Survivor. It's 130 gigabyte preload. It's insane. That is too much. Games need to start optimizing their storage space because this is getting ridiculous. Either way, guys, those are all the complaints I've heard. Let me know what you guys think. I personally think people are a little nitpicky. Not really the YouTubers. Those smaller complaints from YouTubers, they really were like, well, if I had to complain about something, but here's all these other great things. It was like 1 minute of complaints and then 9 minutes of like, this game is awesome. So take those ones with a grain of salt, but a lot of the Twitter complaints, I think, are just people being people and having to complain about something, you know? Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below, and be sure to enter that giveaway if you want to win. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Be sure to click that subscribe button for more content, and hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted to whenever I live stream or upload. Thanks so much.